last week. We'll be doing the usual meetings, but also once a month, a specific all-hands Star Citizen meeting specifically to assist with getting the time zone Aussie and European commands in. So that is of interest to us. I have the stream up here for live test, just purely to do a transcripting system. One thing that AI allows for at this juncture is we can essentially have the meeting and then we can transcript it out using that system so that we don't miss any information, that there's some record for what we're doing. Generally, we're reading off of the Guild Meeting Note transcripts from the official website post, but this is allowing for us to do a little bit more in that regard. We did resolve to make a few changes, try to get the Discord updated, some things where they need to be for 2026. We'll continue to do that going forward. But as of last week, people are supposed to be essentially on break at this juncture. There's a lot to go over. You do have the Guild Meeting Notes to go through, none of which should be particularly shocking in any way. We have some minor other side news and games to look at. There should be quite a bit more discussion regarding Ashes of Creation, but we will have to have some conversations about that. I have put up a link to the early access information and so forth. We have been watching this game in development for some time, and had some high hopes on essentially the large-scale PvP progression. So we had hoped that there would be more of that available. But I personally, and just based upon the feedback I'm receiving from the vast majority of people here, there's a sense that it's a bit undercooked, and that we will set up some time to get the content more available and perhaps set up the branch. We're on the Shoal server, SHOL, with Ninjaka and company, and I'm happy to do what is necessary. But as far as I can tell, it's primarily just a group of officers present there and limited interest, and it's not significantly changed up from the previous tests that we have done for leveling, and it seems to be a bit generic. So I'm happy to run it at a time that works for people, and I would like to make sure that we are doing our due diligence in that regard. But as you know, we are overwhelmingly involved with the Star Citizen campaign and prep and so forth, which shouldn't be much of a surprise, and that's going to continue to be the case for the foreseeable future. We had some conversations earlier, just sort of feedback. There's a lot of challenges with, I think, anyone coming in to significantly change up the Star Citizen campaign trajectory. And the reasoning for this is that, as you know, particularly when it comes to the reality of our history, you have to both provide a game that is, I would say, substantially more advanced in fidelity to, say, World of Warcraft, or be comparably, preferable to ESO, Guild Wars 2, etc., etc., etc. My personal preferences, as I have been very open about over the years, have been more in the sci-fi fantasy realm, and we had been more than happy to go into Star Wars: The Old Republic as a main game, and had hoped that it would become something more like Star Citizen, but that was a long time ago. So here we are. The feedback I've received from the summer census from most of you is that we need to modernize, that Star Citizen is something of an interest for us long term, and that we had an obligation to finish out World of Warcraft, go ahead and ensure that Midnight and The Last Titan and perhaps a final BlizzCon were covered. We were, of course, at that time very concerned with the health and stability and viability of Blizzard as a company, the transition to Microsoft, the Western AAA games market in general, and this is something that we'll continue to have some conversations about, because it's been probably the roughest year I can, in recent memory, for the AAA market, and the end result is that we've seen some really interesting changes, which is to say, a lot of the smaller studios the big AAA studio alumni that are doing higher quality work are winning big. So, Expedition 33 being an example of that, but frankly, other AA games seem to be more relevant, and that would include things like Helldivers. It would include things like Space Marine. Once again, we've also seen Activision Blizzard in its new Microsoft form really stumble on the Call of Duty environment, and although they are making some changes here and there, just to give a sense of it, I posted in the chat a little sort of tidbit about Diablo 4, Lord of Hatred, which is the Paladin class inclusion, which is normally something that would be tremendously exciting, and they have a nice little video. But unfortunately, they also have this sort of bizarre slop associated with it, which I also posted, which is the Calling, motion comics and so forth. And I rarely get into these. I can't remember last time or official post I've ever commented on YouTube, but I felt compelled to point out that really this stuff is off-brand, off-model, and not what people are looking for, and that this is driving people away from the games we want to play. So given that reality, the majority of people here, and I think as time goes on, are already in the transition phase to Star Citizen and future games, and that's what I need to encourage. So we have some good news because of the successes we've enjoyed in Star Citizen. We are, for reasons we won't get into, fabulously, ridiculously, absurdly wealthy. And this means that if you have an account in Star Citizen, we have billions and billions and billions of credits to get you ships with. We need to give you ships. So for the Christmas holiday environment, we would like you to log in, and I will put 1 billion up for people to get whatever they want. So the 890 yachts are on me. So do get in. Do get your ships. We'll give you some beautiful fighter aircraft, etc. But that's where we're going. Currently, I will continue to provide updates and information for side games, because even with the Star Citizen crew, realistically speaking, it is still an alpha, and many people are still playing side games. People are in Helldivers. They're playing Battlefield 6. They're playing around with Dune. People are encouraged to continue to maintain their World of Warcraft space, and we are getting additional copies of the game for those who need it. Drunken, just let me know how best to do that for you. I have one for you. And people have been very generous in providing assistance in that regard and for access to ships, and you should feel very good about that. It's one of the benefits of being in a community. I remember telling Taylor when we first started putting people out there, work hard and save up for an 890, and it's a personal goal. So on the other side of it, a year later, we're handing out 890s to everyone, and it's a good time. So that's all very positive. We did resolve to make some major modernization and changes for the future. We want to make sure that the meritocracy of the organization and nomination system for Star Citizen continues. I'm going to press gang a few people into promotions. I'm going to put Rockbeard up to Sarge. I'll drag up here and make sure that he's in good shape. Let me get these other two up. We're going to have a brief meeting for officership. I'm doing some promotions. Just want to make sure you guys were available to that if you're available.
Okay, sure.
It's going to be like 10 minutes. Bring it up. Right, I'm dragging up Left-Footed and Vivok because this is particularly relevant to them. One, I want people to be present when we do promotions so that they're not shocked by it. There was a field promotion for Rockbeard. He had been nominated for Sergeant some time ago and was on hiatus. And having returned, he's being promoted to Sergeant. Should be shocked to no one. However, there is another area of specialization for promotion that I wanted to discuss, and you're probably well aware of it if you were veterans of the organization. But we use a warrant officer, technical officer designation. Common in the military. It's for individuals who are taking on additional roles. You'll have a general military ranking hierarchy, but you also have specialization. So fundamentally that means that you're going to have individuals who are going to be broadly PvP officers, individuals who are going to be broadly technical logistics, PvE, or in some type of administrative role, or in the specifics of how modern organizations work. We are pivoting to a reality in which things like live streaming, YouTubing, presentation, graphics design, things that any type of large-scale guild have to do, where they're doing recruitment or outreach via this type of technology. I have been testing our YouTube streaming much more substantially now, and I do want to field promote people who are doing it. So, for example, in the case of left-footed or those who are doing back-end work, who can assist with computer builds or know how to do that, people who like Nevok and others, you should take on a warrant role. So that's an additional designation on top of your rank. It just means that you're competent in these areas. So, for example, in Star Citizen or other game loops that you're leading, if there's a specific end game of interest to people, be it some type of organized group PvP, and broadly in Star Citizen, that's going to be the spectrum of FPS, larger fleet battles, more arena commander specific types of engagements with small craft. Depending on what happens with the content, be it strikes, in which we would designate a raid leader style position, which would be a strike leader, or if there's a specific name that they bring in to have PvP areas with clear objectives in line with, for example, an instanced battleground. We don't know exactly what their plans are with that, but they did mention it during CitizenCon, that is a designation that's likely to occur. As a result, we want individuals that can be appropriately tagged on the Discord for that type of role, so people know who to work with in terms of an FPS scrimmage team or lead team, which Win or Death is effectively doing, and we want to ensure that we're doing it. On top of that, I think flight leads and trainers, we'd have class leaders back in the day. I think that we absolutely will need that as a designation as well, and we're happy to set up additional channels and designations for 2026, which rationally makes sense, and I'm here to facilitate those changes with immediate effect once we have a clear operational plan. I know that has been discussed in the Star Citizen officer meetings, which once again, once a month, probably Saturdays, designed specifically to accommodate time zone issues in Europe and Oceania. So that's where we're at. I do want nominations to be handled and expedited for promotion, and I do want more heavy recruitment. I've received a lot of professional feedback from almost everyone on this channel to some extent and to some greater extents regarding what they want. We're in a far more sophisticated position than we have ever been, in that we keep really extensive records, and those records are now cross-referenced with essentially AI. So there's a receipt of everything you've put in. There is a transcript for what we're doing. We're doing transcript testing on the YouTube live stream as we speak, and the end result is that what you're saying and what your requests are will be codified and be brought along. So we have the initial guild meeting notes for Star Citizen. We have specific feedback. We have some extensive work and things that Caboose, Rockbeard, Mosley, others have brought up that we are going to implement. But essentially, once there's an understanding as to what you want to do, it becomes distilled into something that we'd call a platform, and that becomes the position of the organization and what we're focusing on doing. Broadly, that is preparing for 1.0 launch, building up effective Navy, ground forces, technical support, logistics, all the things we need to maintain an organization so we have a strong footing going into 1.0 with a special impulse to get recruitment and training to a state that people are happy with, and really refine a pre-battle checklist, standards and procedures, voice comms, voice discipline, etc. And I know we have individuals who are doing really outstanding work when it comes to creating guides and information to that effect. I won't embarrass or call people out for their success on it, but we do value that, and I think it's important that we be much more involved. If you're interested in getting information organized, I'd really strongly recommend that we do a joint sort of YouTube/live streaming, and then distill that through, once again, the AI, because it will have the context of our previous logging, which is extensive and valuable at this point and getting better, and will continue to get better, which allows us to make more effective forward-facing publication on the website, which will paint you in a good light. And it's also very valuable to all of you for just like search engine optimization. So if people are looking for organizations and they want to do specific content, and we have that logged, and it is in a transcript, and it is up on the website, and it is in a YouTube, you're going to flag, and the information is going to be far more accurate and more effective going forward. So that's point of business for Star Citizen. So you know that's currently the strongest campaign candidate by a wide margin, which is why more and more effort is being invested in it. And I also want to thank everyone for your enormous success with the financial end of things. So being in a position where we can gift everyone an 890 or whatever ships they want at this point, bluntly, is a tremendous achievement. So if you need ships, we need you to have them, and we'd love to get you some yachts and perhaps some fancy-looking, legally distinct, Naboo starfighter variants from the Wolves and so forth, Kruger being the manufacturer. So please log in for that. For those who logged in a little bit late, Shoal server, Ashes of Creation. I'm assuming Ninjaka, you're going to be on point. I know Mepti and a few others are there. I'm not going to try to overblow the situation with Ashes. It's very much an early access alpha project, and we're going to have to be pretty forgiving on the expectations on that front as a result. And it's a good foundation with Unreal 5. I find the rest of it to, it's going to need work. Some serious refinement in the end game, we'll see. So that's where we're at. As I said, we also have funding for copies of games. I want to make sure that Drunken and others are taken care of for their outstanding service, keeping things going, and ensuring that, for those who do want to clear out World of Warcraft and to finish the game as it currently exists, that you're able to do so. I had a briefing from Obsky last night, RE private servers and the Ascension project, which we can discuss for those who are interested. TLDR, a lot of innovation being done there. I'll probably, at some point when I find some time, just do a tour leveling experience with him, just to see sort of where they're at. But apparently it's quite well done. It's much more thought through than, for example, Scene of Discovery or whatever else, and it has some useful innovations that perhaps could be useful in the game going forward. So my intention is to be very clear with people as we go into 2026 and beyond that it's time to get involved with the next generation games and come join us in Star Citizen. We really need a lot of additional crew and support, particularly for engineering, which my understanding is that, they just slated to get it out the door in some form by the end of the year. The balancing and quality of life issues, Nevok and Left-Footed can describe to you in particularly gory detail as to what their thoughts are about the situation. Suffice to say, with the next patch coming up, which is imminent, it's going to be pretty wild. I don't know how much of it's going to work or not work, but for those of you who do not know, engineering essentially deals with the complex living, breathing reality of a vehicle, a starship, a capital ship, in which components and atmosphere and other conditions during operation are going to be relevant and take place. So, for example, damage will result in fires on board. It will result in damage to various components, and how those components are damaged will affect the handling and operation of the vessel. So obviously, hits on your reactor can cause the ship to simply go critical and be destroyed. Damage to subsystems for power or weapons and so forth will knock them out, and so on and so forth. And depending on the types of weapons used, you have to have a clear damage control strategy. So engineering means engineers. It means having crew that are trained with damage control and some engineering capacity in mind. Subsystems will include replacing components for power generation, for the shields, for any of the other support roles, which they'll get into, and knowing how best to handle it, dealing with power management, heat, so on and so forth, replacing fuses, etc. So interesting, probably the most complex damage system we've ever seen in a game like this before. So interesting, worthwhile, and we encourage you to take a look at it. New content will be coming out in the next system, where we're seeing the first engagements with sort of the big bads, which are the Vanduul. So they have some early missions which involve taking on a variety of Vanduul small craft. I think that it's very clear that as time goes on, their intention is to ramp up for the big, essentially capital ship strike environment where you take on a large space station, and there's significant shipboard potential for boarding. There's different station mechanics for FPS teams. There are a whole variety of different types of alien ships, from small to, I think, capital, that we'll be dealing with. So real content, significant. We don't know if PvP will be possible. we have run into some PvP at the new Nixed environments. So something to take into consideration. We also expect, I'm sure, that they'll have sort of Halo adjacent Vanduul fighting. I think you'll absolutely end up with the entire ecosystem of Vanduul ground units and infantry for station and shipboard combat. And once again, considering their tendency to put in Halo-themed power armor, legally adjacent and distinct warthogs and other items from that IP, I'd be shocked if they didn't do homage content in a pretty substantial way to keep you guys involved. So enormous potential. Star Citizen is still many years of hard development to bring it into its full and complete state, but as a playable, functional, fun experience for people, that is an example of the type of next generation game we've been waiting for a very long time. You can play it today, and there's plenty of content to keep people engaged most of the time. I am fully aware of, as we said earlier, that there is a significant number of people who are playing Call of Duty or Helldivers or they're playing other games in orbit. I want you to, that's a healthy, reasonable thing to do, and we want to continue to do this. So from my perspective, we want to have a strong docket of other options for you. So Ashes is there, completing up World of Warcraft, the other side games are completely reasonable for us going forward. As a final note, I am heading at a time to do some traveling on Thursday, and I've been working on, I'll continue to be working on some vehicles and prep for the transition from a nice, warm, coastal Top Gun base environment to Midwestern snow and all the rest of it. So I'll be in and out as the vehicles are prepped for that, but I'll be back. That means you're officially on winter Christmas break as per usual. Traditionally, people have been very generous about handing out gifts, copies of games. We'll make sure that those are received, and then we will traditionally encourage people to engage in the ruin part swap, in which, for those of you who are fortunate enough to be upgrading your machines, if you have leftover components, RAM is worth its weight in gold, or if you have a newer graphics card coming in, you'd be shocked by how many people would benefit from having access to a 20 series, 30 series, or mid 40 series. I doubt very many people are updating their 4 series yet. But we've done that for 20 years. We've given out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of components, entire computers. The Guild has been very quietly, extremely generous to its members. It's something we don't like to harp on. It's just it's a natural, classy thing to do amongst friends who are spending, in many cases, hundreds or thousands of hours playing together in the same hobby, in a raid or PvP environment, and whom you want to make sure that they're not missing out. The warrant department on the tech end, made fairly accurate predictions regarding price increases, and we were able to help a lot of people get access to RAM before it blew up. And so it's a tough situation. So if you are making a machine now, RAM is, I don't know how you'd conscious spending $1,600 on a standard RAM package these days. It's so ridiculously overinflated. But we'll do what we can to help on that front, and see what's available in terms of the internal parts that become available over the holidays. So that's the major thing. Once again, I want to make sure that everyone understands that we're greenlit on reforms when it comes to the meetings and the feedback. We want to ensure things are getting implemented on the Discord, the content's getting done, that the meritocracy and improvements are being done, and that there's a continual process of improvement. We're aware when there are standard interpersonal issues that pop up, how to deal with, what are our standards, what are the rules, how should they be enforced, what are we obligated to do in terms of service for the Discord or for any of the games and their user and license agreements, be it Star Citizen or whatever else, so that, essentially it's a big group of people. It's a military sim environment. You're generally large-scale PvPers. If you're managing literally an army of people, we traditionally have a system in which we do a lot of an officer academy work, and then when the conflicts begin to ramp up and we have to do mass-scale recruitment, you're in a good position to expand and take on more combat-ready, capable people, but you're always going to have to be training them. And if you are managing, a squad or more below you, you need to know how to do it. It needs to be standardized. A lot of it often be just copy pasta training of here's the standards for the organizations, here's the messages you're going to be putting out in chat in broad terms. You'll have a lot of latitude, but essentially cover your ass. Make sure that you're not getting into situations where people are goading you or subordinates into saying things in chat so that they can report you and get you banned. We've had some examples of individuals who got heated with someone, and the other individual is just waiting for them to cross some user and license agreement violations so that the individual could get action. So don't play their games. Keep it professional and public, and recognize that you have the ability to set whatever standards you would like for the Discord or your groups. And if you're a group leader, it's always been essentially carte blanche. You can set standards, and you shouldn't feel that it's a problem. It's like, hey, if we're doing this mission, it's like any other content we've ever done in World of Warcraft. People are like, oh, if the person doesn't meet requirements, they're not coming with the right spec, they're not coming with their pre-raid check, they're not doing all the things that are necessary to contribute in a competitive environment. You don't have to bring people. I'm not going to force you to take on people who are unwilling or unable to meet basic requirements, and the Guild has quite a few. So traditionally for groups, things like voice communications, Discord is a foundation, is a big part of it for communication. If you're talking about gear and loadouts, I mean, don't feel weird. In Star Citizen, you guys are very, very lenient. We're coming out of Warhammer, Warcraft, ESO, Guild Wars 2, World First. It's, if you don't meet item level requirements and you didn't bring raid consumables, or you're not in the correct PvP item level, like there's no further conversation that's really necessary. It's one of these things where it's like, okay, well, if they're not viable, they're not viable. And they'll need you to feel that you're somehow being a problem by simply doing your role. You can tactfully and with a high IQ level of bedside manner inform people what the expectations are, and you can enforce it. You have many tools as officers going forward, the warnings, the mutes, the bans, the kicks, whatever is necessary to ensure that people are not distracting, disrupting, or otherwise keeping you from achieving your goals. Once again, a vast amount of this stuff comes down to effective recruitment, effective training, and a lot of drilling, just showing up as much as you possibly can to ensure the content's getting done on a regular schedule and that it's getting completed to your satisfaction. And as, for example, the end game in these alphas, early access, the Star Citizen testing become more well-defined, we'll have a much better understanding of sort of what people are going to be doing and what that type of end game loop and sort of generally day-by-day, week-to-week, month-to-month activities are going to look like. And I think you'll have some clearly understood sort of end game objectives in terms of base building on the planetary side, the starship construction, the large-scale ground and fleet operations, and then of course there's the big picture end game, which is going to be coalition-based. And I think from the sort of EVE Online leadership styles that are out there, we're in pretty good communication with most of these guys. We're happy to run with people we've had proven campaigns with going back 20 years. I think a lot of the obvious big players from EVE Online are good people to work with, but we're happy to bring in people that we've more recently had good relations with going through launches of New World for the Battle for New World campaign, any of the old officers from Battle for Azeroth, groups that we perhaps had some relationship with in Guild Wars 2 or ESO, and a lot of you have connections to leverage there. So as soon as we get a situation where it's like, all right, well, the beacons are lit, we have a major conflict coming up, time to get the band back together, we will have a better understanding of that, and we have that situation to leverage. But until then, day-to-day recruitment, running the operations, figuring out what you would like to do. I know that's the FPS scrims, finding fights in locations like Hathor or others that just happen to have high-value commodities, and it's become natural sort of user-generated organic content are what we've been focusing on. So that's pretty much what I have for you. So just executive summary, we're going to be working on the website, updating it much more extensively. It's in pretty good shape, but I want to make sure that the more significant games of the future have that top slot. So Star Citizen will be, it's already prominently on the top, but we'll update it as necessary with the vision we've talked about. We're very clear about the World of Warcraft, World Soul, Midnight, and through the Last Titan, which essentially is closing out the space, and the necessity of people to move to more modern games, and the need to have a sort of rich spectrum of things for people to do just to keep morale up, keep entertainment levels where they should be, so that we have people in a position to have plenty to do So once again, Diablo 4, Paladin's in, player housing, early access. So I'm bringing up the stream now for World of Warcraft for those who are interested. Daily content for Star Citizen. There's Ashes testing to do. Some people are having fun inside games like the private servers and so forth. But that's basically what I'm seeing. We also put up some articles and the Decision Maker Brief information on the Video Game Awards for 2025. There's a lot of lessons to be learned there, but the TLDR is that a lot of the bigger studios, they're just full of bloat. They're not very agile. The content that they're making is suffering as a result, and that the quality is not reflecting the sheer quantity of people working on these projects. So I think that there will be some readjustment on that. I think we're going to see some leaning up. I think they're going to be forced to deal with either getting the talents on board or their products just not performing anywhere close to where they should be. And that's big news. It's a major change. There's a big pushback against sort of the Call of Duty, EA, Madden, sort of year-by-year launch. As far as the future is concerned, I mean, GTA is out there for GTA 6. There's sort of a sleeper Star Wars The Old Republic game is being worked on, not through BioWare. It's all the old BioWare alumni are making it. I put up a trailer for that. It looks, it's a trailer, but it looks good. The quality of the work is excellent, really borrowing pretty heavily from traditional Star Wars. So it's like KOTOR meets Andor. They even have the small craft that was of interest. We were talking about it, completely unrelated. Star said it the other day, one that has sort of like lightsaber beams on the side of it. But the point being, there's plenty of good work being made. Gaming is fine, but the Western AAA bloat market, the sort of EA, I would argue, Ubisoft, and unfortunately the mega conglomerates with Microsoft under the current iteration are certainly on notice, and I think we're going to continue to see some problems with that model continuing to be relevant. So that's the take. All right, in any event, that's pretty much what I had to cover. I wanted to wish you a happy Christmas, holiday, winter break period as usual. And if you have any questions, let me know. We'll do final nominations for promotions during this period. I have to get out of here on Thursday, but I will be bringing up one of my computers. So I will be in contact and I'll have Discord. And we just don't have a meeting next week, and you'll be just having fun doing what you want to do. I'll be focusing quietly on just handing away as much of the gifts as we have, the billions in credits and ships, the tens of thousands of dollars of ships you're able to get out, which is a huge, cool thing. And I want to make sure that we're continuing to provide outstanding guides, content, and basically useful help and utility to new people coming into these games. And I want to really ramp up on the recruitment end and make sure that we're taking action from the feedback we've received during the officer meetings and one-on-ones and so forth. And I'm happy to make sure that that's being publicized and put out in public to the maximum extent possible. Yes, I mean, we will absolutely do that, Alexa. Also, just as a general rundown, yes, no, I'm not currently moving to seeing family, extended family up in Canada. We may do a move down the line. We like the area here. I mean, this is like literally a really cool place to be. It's the Top Gun school area. It's the Miramar Air Station area. It's old Marine base. We'll see what happens. Any other information, updates, things that we haven't covered, any other nominations that have slipped through during the session? I want to make sure that's done now before you're dismissed to go about your merry way. All right, once again, Ashes is going to be the Shore server, or Shoal server. We're going to make sure that we are getting a branch off the ground there, and Jacob will have some more information. We'll discuss it during the main meeting. We will be gifting out copies, and for everyone on the channel, We've been very successful, and I thank everyone for their generosity on the credits and financial front. So please take the opportunity to buy some of the new fighter aircraft and space yachts or whatever else for Star Citizen. We expect a lot more Nix content to be coming in with engineering, which we're going to have to find some crew solutions to, because the larger ships are going to be much more player dependent, which means recruit, and I'll be on top of that as much as I possibly can. And that's the situation going forward. So if there's nothing else, I'll let you guys head out. All right, sounds good. Get out of here. I'm going to move up to the Ruin TV event lobby. You can shamelessly plug any of your events or information. My door is always open for feedback and information, and we will absolutely be utilizing that as a baseline for making the platform for policy going forward. And I'm hoping for good things for Ashes down the line. The feedback so far is it's obviously early access. It's a bit generic, and they have a lot of work to do. Perhaps the end game, the siege content, will be where it shines, but I'll put some more time into it. I just had some real struggles with getting it to load up and have the textures and so forth work initially, and that's something that we'll discuss. All right, I'm moving up to the event lobby at this time. Right, how's everyone doing? We had a quick officer meeting. It's basically Christmas holiday break. We're doing some transcript testing on the YouTube page for future use. I'll probably record the audio and have the AI go through it so that we have better meeting notes. But we are taking a look at the future, discussing Star Citizen, Ashes, completing World of Warcraft, make sure people have access to content there. All right, we are mostly in the event lobby. Once again, on the Star Citizen front, I'm getting some messages to this effect. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the game. It's a huge, ambitious project. There's a vast amount of content to do. So a lot of people just think it's a ship game, but it's a huge FPS, engineering, logistics, and ground and light vehicle game there, and it's becoming more complex as time goes on. So, if you're like a Halo or Helldivers, Battlefield 6 enjoyer, you're going to find, I think, that there's quite a bit there for you to be interested in, for us to take a look at. I do have the test stream up currently. We're trying to keep it limited. I'll eventually be changing it up to youtube.com/ruin, which I'm happy with the quality, which will be occurring probably very early in the new year. We just want to make sure that we're on top of that. So at this juncture, we're doing everything we can to ensure the quality is where it needs to be. We'll be doing some more updating on the site, covering the new games and updates that we're doing. The objective is to make sure that we are on top of all the major game news, updates, etc. of relevance to you guys. We have an interesting trailer for Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred. It looks pretty cool. For those of you who are old school Paladin enjoyers, perhaps this would be something of interest to you. Otherwise, they have the Luminalia information for Star Citizen, which I have a link to. We want to ensure that you have an opportunity for you guys to get all the goodies. There's a limited time thing for Luminalia, but there's a link to it in the chat for those interested. Make sure that we're on top of it. I'll say the rest for the guild meeting at 6, and then I gotta head out.
Anybody cares to know John Wayne is on? Y'all are missing it.
What?
Yep, no, I'm missing John Wayne. Rio Grande.
All right. Looks like the Navy is loud tonight. Let's see what we're doing. Let's see.
Damn recruits. Where I did basic.
No, down in San Diego?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Went over there, went to boot camp, went across the compound to become a cook, went right back across compound and cooked for recruits.
There
Never
you
set
go.
foot on a ship.
At least the weather's good. Let's see.
I figured I'd do something I already knew how to do.
There we go. There's a link. Once again, the Guild website will be updated pretty heavily for the new year. Make sure that we have content reflecting the games we're focused on. I'd say that there's some promise from Ashes, but I'm still fairly bearish until we can see the content improve. Beyond that, I think we're very, very clear about the Star Citizen like 1.0 focus. I think that we wouldn't be pushing for it unless we're seeing, the type of improvements that we have. And although it is an alpha environment with a lot of core systems still out, the fidelity and content we have already successfully seen implemented is of a nature that we can't ignore it. I'd say Star Citizen is the first MMO in which we've seen multi-crew and the ability to have, large capital ship battles with, once again, large numbers of gunners and support occurring whilst in a complex environment where you have both space stations, where you have FPS teams, ground surfaces with ground vehicles and bunkers and other structures, all actively fighting over a site simultaneously with no load screens is really fairly impressive, and we've done a vast amount of that recently. For those of you who are getting into Star Citizen due to the enormous success of the team over in Star Citizen, we have a vast amount of wealth accumulated, which means we're in a position to be very generous, which means if you have a Star Citizen account that you haven't been playing, would like to log in, we can absolutely help you out with ships. We're happy to buy them. They have some beautiful new craft that have been put in that are worth taking a look at, the Wolf and all the other beautiful high prestige ships. I'm happy to do that. For the officers, long-term members, 890 jump space yacht on me. Happy to give it out. I have 1 billion credits to address, which is quite a bit in space yacht money. So do take advantage of it. We have others who are in a position to help and have requested to do so. We have other individuals who are very, very keen on contributing. Also, at this time of year, as is tradition, we buy copies of games for people who are in need. We're also traditionally in a position where those who are upgrading their machines have been traditionally very, very generous in, once again, finding members of their teams who might benefit from them. And particularly with the RAM prices being just utterly bonkers, it's something that I think we might be able to help people with, so something to consider. The guild meeting notes are up. We have quite a bit going on there. Looks like the major stuff is there. Paladin information, Luminalia, previous Citizen Con. I have the rest of it up here on the Ruin stream on YouTube, which we're testing here. It's eventually just be moved over to youtube.com/ruin. We're doing some testing for transcripting purposes, in which all the audio from the meetings and so forth, officer and otherwise, can be tabulated and utilized as a means of creating records and ensuring that we're actioning items that come up, so we're delivering things for people. But game's looking great. Perseus is really cool. Polaris is excellent. We're going to be getting some of the first Idris constructed in game. I think we already have the material thanks to the team for an Idris, which is one of the frigates with a large armored hangar bay and so forth. I don't know if it's Peacefighter or Winter Death or both getting it, but ship piracy is also in, and we'll be in a position to support that.
Is he still talking?
No, no, I'm just here. Meeting's not up until 6, so I want to make sure we just cover the basics. We have like 82 people online in the World of Warcraft branch here. I have not finished up my house here. I played around quite a bit with it, but I think a lot of the better stuff's coming in. So once again, we're going to try to be as generous as we can with copies of the game. If you'd like to pitch in, let me know, and we'll quietly Secret Santa out copies. I have my house set up here. It's very, very baseline. I have my architecture table, and I have, some of the marble work on the walls. I don't know if you can do ceilings or not, and I have no idea what else I want to do with the rest of it, to be honest. But it is available. I think the system is not like entirely implemented per se. This is sort of like the test objects that they can work with, and as best as I can tell, like that's it. And it's good. It's fine. I'm glad they finally put it in. We're certainly advocated for it for the longest time, so it's better than not having it. But this is certainly not the finished product, and it will take, I think, some time for that to come into existence. That said, I have seen some pretty beautiful examples of work done, so I'm definitely not poo-pooing it. I think it is something that was necessary, and as time goes on, we'll see some beautiful work done. I had a significant amount of, I would say, backlog of rewards, so I would imagine many of you who have played for years are in a similar situation, and will be in a position to play around with that going forward. But I have a sort of cluttered space here with some toys. I have a crazy Naru thing here that I haven't had a chance to play with until now. Valdraken Lamppost. How's that not going outdoors? But I'm sure we'll do some runs for that, and it's a fun thing to do for people to sort of close out their game experience. In many respects, I feel like player housing in WoW is like largely it's like a giant trophy case. Does that make sense? Where essentially you're like, well, I've beaten the game, and now I'm doing these things in order to show off all of the many things that I have accumulated and achieved in the years of play.
Did everybody get all their transmogs from over there at Remix?
No,
Legion?
I haven't done that for a while.
I got
I think I got most of it. There's a final tier. Did they add more stuff? I don't know what else you can get.
I don't know if they added more stuff, but I went to the raid guy, and now I have the scythe in 3 different colors.
Oh, right. The scythe in different colors. Yeah. That's one of the better. Like I've always said, Legion is by and large the best cosmetics in the game ever done.
Yeah.
So I mean, if
I was
you're
going
going
for the shoulders of what's his name in what the hell's his name? I don't know. The big demons from Emerald Dream. It's an entire outfit, but it doesn't have the cool shoulder. Pissed me off. The suit ain't too bad.
No, I think that they're trying to harken back to better examples of the game. I think politically that whatever Blizzard has become is so incapable of reacting quickly to make excellent content that it's really disjointed. And they produce a lot of stuff, but it's sort of a failure of education and capacity. I don't think that a lot of the people that they have currently understand like what World of Warcraft is, so they tend to make something which is very childish and very cartoony and very off-brand from World of Warcraft itself. So a lot of the sort of like heavy metal, I would say, grim dark fantasy roots coming from Warhammer, they don't seem to understand that. Inherently, it's not really a cozy core game, like all due respect. So they have to figure out how to implement it, because I feel like they put in a lot of just generic game stuff. So there's a lot of things going on, but they don't really seem to understand how to fix some of the core problems and to utilize their, I would argue, backlog of content to a reasonable extent. So they have a sort of borrowed power creep problem, which has been around since the beginning, that was, pretty elegantly handled by like ESO, and other games like Star Wars: The Old Republic, in the sense that all of the older raids and world bosses and previous dungeons are just scaled to you in such a way that they're still relevant and awarding progression and currency and so forth, and allowing you to experience the content and for it to be relevant in some sort of meaningful and practical way. And they've been really like ham-fisted about it because they have time walking, but it's so limited. Like, why be half-assed about it? Just put all the dungeons back in rotation. Put them all in mythic dungeons. Like, put all the raids into the system. So for up to me, I'd be like, well, okay. If all the older dungeons are in rotation and are dropping relevant gear, and it's really well liked and you get a lot out of it, why don't you do that with world bosses and raids? Like, why are you not doing it for all of the content of that nature? You built it, you developed it, it's really expensive to develop. There's no reason not to keep it relevant and available to people, in my view.
Here.
Yeah, Nomergon would be fun again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just so well done, and people flock to it, and they're off playing Ascension to have access to it. By the way, send me golden games. I'm down to 2,000 because of my crippling elven marble addiction. I'm not doing
Legion was by far the best weapons. I was able to get the Agrimar sword.
And why those weapons can't be used for the
one-handed.
future? Their rationale was basically nothing entire. Who did this to their house? They got a floating aviary up here they've made. Look at this person. I have it up on the stream. We've got some architects going on in game doing various things. Holy Mo's house. This is on the private. I'll put it up in the channel, but it's the YouTuber. Somebody has that's funny. They made a house out of marble blocks with a portal.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Oh, it's Chansol's house. Oh, he joined up. That's hilarious. We know him. He's one of the interesting Korean PvP masters. Aslan built a nice house. Well, we have the neighborhood working. I mean, I'm pretty pleased that people have built up as much as they can. So people got some really cool plots here. I kept it simple and got an unassuming plot by the coast here. Off by the lighthouse island. A very understated little estate here. With some palm trees. So I'm happy it's in, and hopefully they'll do more with it, is the hope. We shall see. A meeting starts in 3 minutes. I'll try to advertise for people to come in. After that, you are on the holiday break.
I just sent you some gold art.
Thank you. I can use my mount to get 2,000. I got to cover the thing internally with. I always had a plan as well. They do eventually allow a housing system. We've got all this beautiful high elf stuff to work with. If I could, I would buy out. I would just do Suramar all day, but they don't allow it yet. I think eventually maybe that will change. So we shall see. The guild is in good shape, very active. It's almost always full. Taylor's been trying to deal with the constant influx of hundreds and hundreds of remix characters which come in and then have to be kept.
I think I'm just going to start kicking some of them.
Yeah, they got to get in Discord at some point.
I mean, I put the message out to move over, but they don't listen.
Alright, we'll go do a quick run through of the news and updates, and then hopefully get a news and briefing. I want to know what the hell's going on with Ashes. Hopefully Ninjaka can help, but realistically after that, I have to head back to campus for one of the last times, and then we'll be back on schedule. I will be out of town for the holidays, but it won't affect much, as I think I will be able to get the internet squared away. Worst case scenario, we'll figure out Elon Musk with some Starlink. It's funny.
Does the guild have any plans for BlizzCon?
I know members are going, and it's unclear if I will still be in California for that, probably. So I'm always around. There are a significant number of people, so. So if you're coming out, let us know, because we'd love to know who is making it out.
Greetings, sir.
Yeah, I've got my tickets. It'll be my first BlizzCon.
Not everything in the ocean is
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's worth going. We have quite the activity set up. We usually do Downtown Disney, Trader Sam's, Enchanted Tiki Bar, the Naples Restaurant, and depending on how they do the layout for the BlizzCon. Some BlizzCons are really, really awesome, incredibly well done. So with Chris Metzen back, maybe they'll start getting up to it, because it was just great. They had really, really great ones, but then COVID happened, so fortunately, it had the impact it had. It's about 6 o'clock. We'll let these guys know to log over for the guild meeting. I'm going to make the announcement post, and then we'll go from there. We have the guild meeting notes, which I drafted up for all of you. BlizzCon, you should be listed on it as a thing that we're engaged in. We'll also have conversations down the line for other conventions like CitizenCon, because, as you know, there's a lot more of it.
They still selling the tickets.
I am sure you
Yeah.
can get access to it. But 1 second, this should go out. Hopefully that went out to everyone. I should have the appropriate notes. Once again, just as a quick rundown, sort of executive summary for the meeting. I do have the guild meeting notes 12/16/2025 up. We're going through, there's a quick executive summary for everyone to see. We are, as you know, concluding War Within, moving into Midnight. Player housing is live in World of Warcraft. You'll notice that there are quite a few upcoming new games that people are putting a lot of time into for testing purposes, and their various phases of alpha, with Star Citizen taking the lead. Ashes of Creation, which we've been following for many years, is now in early access on Steam. We're on the Shoal server there, SHOL. There is also some news for Diablo 4, which has been a side game in orbit, a great IP. Hopefully good news for many who are Paladin enjoyers of the class. I believe is available on Ready to Play. I'll have to see if I can get some funding together to pick that up. Also, there's a whole variety of holiday events. Star Citizen, obviously, getting in on that. They have the Luminalia event. They have an advent calendar for gifts going out pretty much every day. I think they have the Scorpius Fighter has additional skins available today, which are pretty cool. Beyond that, if you're interested in getting invested and involved with Star Citizen, entry's pretty easy. I think it's like $30. We've been very successful, the team, and all credit to the Star Citizen groups that have been organized on that end. We have quite literally billions and billions and billions of credits. So we have tens of thousands of dollars worth of ships to give out. So that's a very unusual situation. Normally take a vast amount of time and effort to raise this type of funding. So I'd say casually, I have like a war chest of like 3 or 4 billion credits to hand out, which is enough to buy everyone pretty much whatever you want. So whatever space shots you are interested in, or heavy PvP craft of any kind that are available in game. We'll get you set up with. Also, we have been covering the game, so you get a sense of what's going on. The CitizenCon Direct 2955. Quite a bit going on with the development of the future, which is to say, we are looking very intently on the new systems being put in. Nyx is in strong development, where they are doing some of the early sort of big bad alien invasion precursor work, fighting the Van Duel. There's some really great loops to do there. The fidelity of the game looks incredible, definitely worth taking a look at, and we'll be happy to show you more of it. Working on the Star Citizen campaign, you'll see some shots of it on the side there with our Idris, Polaris, and other capital ship fleet on display. Also some footage of that, just showing what the game looks like, the quality of the environments. Very cinematic, worthwhile, worth taking a look at, and we're in a good position to help you guys out. So you play Star Citizen, the player's guides, rundowns of all the ships that you'll be serving on, and some shots of the ruined fleet deployed during various events that we have done. So in addition, engineering is coming in, which means a lot more crew, as will be responsible for keeping the larger capital ships flying, which will require engineering crew. So people to work on basic upkeep of the vessels, like Scotty on the Enterprise. So reactors, reactor heat, component, relays, all the types of electrical things. So we have a bunch of nerds who love that stuff. Also like doing sort of gunnery and just being on board a larger starship. So we really could use your help in that regard, because it is very crew intensive. These, Polaris, Idris, Perseus, other larger capital ships that we own, have a minimum crew requirement. It really cannot be soloed anymore. So love to get you guys out there, and we're happy to bring you in. IAE 2955 completed with some of the new ships, of which the Perseus was a major one, but they have some great new starter ships for you guys to take a look at. The Perseus here. We've had a lot of work being put in showing what's going on that front. But once again, we are also beta testing World of Warcraft Midnight. I'll be continuing to keep an eye on the new 40-man, new content. I know Venruki put a video up to that effect. So it's good. Glad to have a new 40-man. It's been a long time coming, many years since they put one in. And technically, the last 40-man was like IOC, to be blunt. And they added in Oshrin and Wintergrasp, which were not 40-player content, but they moved in that direction. So that's essentially where we're at with it. Once again, encourage you guys to get involved. We do want to make sure you're in a position to enjoy and explore the content going forward, and I want to ensure that you have all the support you could possibly need with Star Citizen and all the other upcoming games. I'm sure we'll be doing more work with Ashes of Creation as well. So on that note, I don't know if we have Auditory available. Audio.
Yep, she popped in.
I'm here.
Do you have a report?
I do. It's really short. Give me just a second to get to a safe-ish location.
It doesn't have to be long.
Also, the Christmas event is happening in Star Citizen now, so if you want to get those skins and armors and stuff, you might want to at least get in your account and go to that website page and click on the items.
I do have a link to it in the guild meeting notes at the top of the page, so make sure you do so.
We're already at day 7.
Okay, so today in Star Wars, Life Day and their anniversary event started. So get your snowballs, wiki hugs, and holiday mounts ready. The 14th anniversary vendor is live. The new Vectron Tensile Taxi mount is... There were some issues earlier, but they are doing a patch tomorrow, and it should be on the appropriate vendor. Also, along with the patch, they will also be having the French and German translations, or I'm guessing it's the voice translations, added to the latest story. Also, the Twitch drop, the Twilight Acklay mount is still available until January 5th. It's 4-hour watch time on any Twitch Star Wars Twitch streamer. In ESO, the New Life Festival started today. It starts Thursday, my bad, and runs until January 6th. It comes with a 100% XP bonus and includes class effects, festive events across Tamriel, has event boxes with seasonal style pages, and will include 5 fragments for the Wild Grown Chapel of Giuliano's home that's available this year. There's a post in the ESO channel with all the details. Also, the Golden Pursuits for the New Life Festival is also running. Over the course of the New Life Festival. And then in Final Fantasy XIV, I'm going the wrong way, patch 7.4 is live. Went live today. The full patch notes, of which there are a ton, are posted in the Final Fantasy channel. Includes a new dungeon, a new trial, a new raid, and quality of life updates, including a glamour system overhaul and more. The Starlight Festival or Starlight Celebration starts tomorrow and runs, and Cactuar is still congested and Hyperion is not. In Destiny 2, the Dawning is here. So bake cookies, throw snowballs, and earn event weapons, materials, cosmetics, and cheer. Crucible Ops, new this year, you can throw snowballs to your heart's content until your opponents die. No weapons, just snowballs and maybe some supers. Yes, it's ridiculous, and yes, you need to play it. There are 2 new cookie recipients in the game for this year for the Dawning. The Dean of the Ionians on Kepler and Archie on the tower. He requests peanut butter paw prints. It's stat. Normal mode for the new Equilibrium dungeon is now open. It opened after contest mode was cleared over the weekend, so you are now free to wipe in peace. And that's it for me.
Outstanding. All right. Once again, Ninjaka, if you have some...
I can I can throw snowballs at you in so many games, Art. Just be prepared.
Dum dum dum.
Yeah, it's not a joke. She's found me in the middle of nowhere and in games you can't even imagine. It's like, how are you here? She's found me in like other characters that no one else knows even exist. I don't know how it happens.
I'm a librarian.
Anyways.
I can find you anywhere.
Scary.
As long as you have a Dewey Decimal.
Fuck Dewey Decimal.
Oh, that's rough to say.
That is her weakness right there.
Fight words.
Everyone's got an Achilles heel. Anyways, I have a lot to say. I have a lot of things to report on, but it's not going to take long because we're just going to kind of briefly run through it here. Follow along with me in Rune Chat if you would like to see everything that I'm posting to. First off is a little article about Ashes of Creation, about, its launch last, it's basically its early access launch on Steam last Thursday through kind of today. It's been an exercise in patience. I was out of town over the weekend, so I didn't get to play too much, but I did play on Thursday and a little bit on Friday. It basically ran how any MMO kind of launches. It's a shit show, obviously. Arc, as you said earlier, is kind of bearish on it. I am more in the bullish camp. The article I posted kind of gives both sides pretty well and does manage expectations of this game and where it is right now. My viewpoint on it is that it has great bones. All it needs to do is be fleshed out, which they're going to probably take at least another 2 years to do. Even though they're saying, 2027, don't hold your breath on that one. 28 or 29 is probably when this game is going to be going into full launch. So I talked about it last week about how they're kind of following the Larian Baldur's Gate 3 approach to this game. And I'll talk more about that next year, but time to move on. Up next is a little for those of you still playing Dune Awakening, the devs are going to be doing a next chapter stream next week. So go ahead and check that article out if you are still kind of playing that game and maybe want to try and get something rolling here over Christmas or next year. Ark's already posted a bunch of links about the Game Awards last Thursday. So I'm just going to throw up a couple of things that I really found interesting. First off is Larian, the same studio that did Baldur's Gate 3, is coming out with a new Divinity. And that basically, from everyone at the show and afterwards online over the weekend, this is the new hotness. This is what everybody wants to see. The rumors coming out right now are, is this, if you thought Baldur's Gate 3, this is going to basically blow Baldur's Gate 3 out of the water. So I'm a little skeptical on this, but then again, Larian put out like a little code thing and then had a statue made of Divinity 3 and threw it out in the middle of Joshua Tree in the Mojave Desert somewhere that people actually went out and found. So they, the hype may be real on this one. A game I've been looking forward to is Exodus. They're calling this one the name of the game is Exodus the Traveler. This is the rise of Jun Aslan, who's basically going to be the shepherd. And what is also, I found lately a lot of people are using spiritual successor. I guess those are the new buzzwords, but they're pushing this one as the spiritual successor to Mass Effect. Thank you.
Right.
Lost my words there for a second there. But to the spiritual successor to Mass Effect, and everything that I'm seeing on it, it seems they're really going to try and pull this thing off. So they got Matthew McConaughey in as one of the main characters, like they did, Cyberpunk did with Keanu Reeves. So everything's looking like this is going to be a kick-ass, take names sort of Mass Effect, Cyberpunk 27 sort of game. But it's definitely sci-fi. The first book by Peter Hamilton called Exodus, the Archimedes Engine, I read it. It's freaking fantastic. I posted the link at the bottom here to the Amazon if you want to check that out. Book 2 is coming out next year. I'm looking forward to reading it. But this is going to be a very, very deep lore, deep story if they pull it off. Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic teaser trailer. The same gentleman who directed Knights of the Old Republic and the Mass Effect trilogy is basically, this is his baby. So if you watch the Game Awards, they talked a great deal about it. But here's a trailer for it if you kind of want to see what Ark was talking about earlier in his opening remarks. Next up is the making of Guild Wars, celebrating 25 years of ArenaNet. I really like inside baseball, behind the scenes sort of things. Now, granted, ArenaNet is the one who produced this, so yeah, it's going to be a very positive light on them. But hey, why not? They get to tell their story and celebrate 25 years. I watched it. Actually, I haven't watched it yet, but I've watched a little bit of it. And I enjoy this sort of stuff. Like the guy that was the game director for Overwatch, he did like a 3-part deal back when Overwatch came out 10 years ago, telling the story of how Titan didn't work and they turned it into Overwatch. I just thought that was really cool, and I enjoy this sort of stuff. So give this a look if that's something that interests you. Yes, I freely admit I am a Diablo 4 player. I just enjoy playing the game. Paladin dropped. So last Tuesday when I was talking about this, it was doom and gloom. Diablo's over with. It's a shit game. Now Diablo 4 is the best game on the planet because they have a Paladin. So it's interesting how, doing something on Thursday night flips everyone's opinions around very instantaneously. But take a look at it. I leveled up a Paladin very rapidly to 60. It did not take me long. It's overpowered right now. So if you feel like you just want to go in and crush everything, roll up a Paladin. They're kind of fun.
How much is it to get in to the new expansion of the Paladin?
10. Do you own Vessel of Hatred, the new expansion?
Yeah, the one with the weird.
Then you just play it. If you want the cosmetics, you can pay $10 for it. But if you don't give a shit about the cosmetics, you can just go in and play. As long as you have the expansion Vessel of Hatred. And then Lord of Hatred's coming out April 28th, which I didn't talk about that, but I'll talk about that next year. Like I said, I'm just doing it for time. But I guess I'll talk 10 seconds. Lord of Hatred, April 28th, the next expansion. And they are going to be dropping another class as well. So with Paladin and with, we had Spiritborn with Vessel of Hatred. And then we have Paladin and the Lord of Hatred. We're going to have a new class, which I think is going to be something brand new they cooked up that will never, something that's not been seen before in the previous Diablos. Although somebody says, I guess when you look at the Paladin, there's a shaded out character in the background that's kind of hinting at the new class, and some people are already expecting it's going to be either a witch or a witch doctor. So, but who frickin' knows? And that link I just posted is actually to, for some reason it's not showing up, but it is to the Exodus book. But the second to last is a legendary drops. There is one thing from the Game Awards I did want to talk about. I guess the last premiere, because basically the Games Award is just nothing but coming attractions for games coming out, and then they stop for 30 seconds and shovel awards in people's faces, and then they do more game trailers. Whoever thought up of this is just the Jeff guy is making a crap ton of money. But legendary drops, the last sorry, not legendary, but the last, I guess, premiere of the night is like supposed to be the premiere, the biggest thing ever. And I guess it's the one you pay the most money for if you get that spot. And it's a game called High Guard, which is another hero shooter. Oh God, dude. The hate has been strong over this weekend. They're calling this, the nicest thing anybody says is Concord fucking 2.0. And it goes downhill from there. Yeah, the hate is strong for this one. Anyways, Legendary Drops does his thing right here and cooks the people, but he does it in a way that was with constructive criticism. He tells them what they've done wrong, why they did what they do was wrong, but he also offers them a couple of paths if they want to try and fix this and save their game. But right now, it is getting roasted. But we could sit here and talk another 20 minutes about that. Watch the video. Everyone have a good break. And my next report will be in the new year along with Audie.
Outstanding.
Ninjaka, I've had a few people ask about Ashes. I just keep pointing them your way. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Right now, Ashes, it's, I get it. It's over the holidays. We're going to kind of get together and do what we can. I'm kind of hooking up with some people from my old guild. So I think I'm just going to get, if not after Christmas, definitely in the new year, I'll try and see if we can get some people all together on, I don't know what we'll call it. We'll probably call it something else besides your own. I don't know. It'll just be, might be on my old guild, might be we all just join somebody else and just kind of start trolling around and doing the game.
Yeah,
right now,
testing crews out there. I will get a Ruin branch up for testers. I know there's 6 or 7 guys in, but we need to get more if we're serious about picking things up over there.
Yeah,
there's plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, this is
it's in development. I'm kind of shocked that it's not farther along than it is. The game doesn't seem very populated, but everything works and people are in there leveling. But I think you got plenty of time because it's basically you're testing the game for them for like the next 2 years in early access. So don't get the FOMO. Don't feel like you have to rush in, but you guys could organize something. I would say that'd be the best way to do it because everybody that's everyone that is succeeding in leveling is in groups. You need a good group. They go mob farming, and that's how everybody seems to be leveling right now. But there's no rush. Just plan it, and when it's comfortable, get together and but then commit so that you guys can get stuff done. Lots of grinding. It's an old school MMO. It's not modern by any. It's like old school WoW, vanilla WoW with some enhancements, especially the graphics.
Yeah, that's 100%.
That's my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw. That's completely accurate. So like big group mob farming is just sort of efficient. It's like old.
So
school
if
loot
anything,
farming.
the more you wait, the more they're going to improve things and do quality of life stuff. That when you come in, it'll be better than it is right now. Thinking about it.
Yeah, if everything stays on schedule, they'll put out the second archetype, and they'll phase that in February, is what they're saying. And when that happens, then we'll go from 8 classes to 64 classes, and that's when we'll really start to see the game diversity. But that's if everything stays on schedule, and I'm not holding my breath.
You have to have the mindset, though. You're testing the game for them. If you pay to play on Steam, just know that you're getting a better deal than other people got that paid a whole bunch. But you're definitely going to be a tester, so you have to expect it not to be complete, to have problems, to have restarts. They're probably going to have wipes. So just do it because you want to have a great game. You see that where the game can be, and you want to be a part of that, and you want to give them feedback, and you want to have fun with other people. You'll build memories of how you helped this game, and then when it finally launches, you're one of the old schoolers, that people will be talking to about, oh, how's this working? How's that work? Or I remember back in phase 5. You'll be one of them. It's kind of cool sometimes.
Yep. Jinx just said it better than I did. So there you go.
New world experience.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
That's super important because at the end of the day, like that new world experience was the experience. Like I think, looking back at it, like the early testing period for New World was actually the most. I mean, just subjectively was the most fun I had personally. I really.
They would have succeeded if they stayed with it. Now, where are they at now?
Yeah, exactly.
They listened to us. They did listen to us instead.
They second guessed.
They listened to. Yeah, they listened to some. I'm sorry, some creators that were invited for a private weekend test, and they told them all they were going to fail if they didn't make it like World of Warcraft. No one would play a PvP open world building crafting game. And and so pretty much the development team that was on that project, they all were like, what we've been working on this for like, okay, bye, we're out of here. I mean, they had the combat designer from Guild Wars 2 came over to work on the game with them. That's why the game is praised for one of the best combat systems. It's simple, but it works excellent. And it's still praised as one of the best combat systems in a MMO.
Yeah,
but he went back to Guild Wars 2. He's like, see ya.
They just didn't have the confidence to keep supporting it. They didn't have the direction, so it was.
Well, the guy that took over, the lead that took over was a really nice guy. I had lots of conversations with him, talking about stuff. But I think his biggest experience at the time was in some mobile games or something.
Yeah, just not able to do it. Yeah, unfortunate.
And I put up the right link for the book on Exodus, the Archimedes engine, if you want to do it. And I forgot to say, Fallout Season 2 is now on Prime. And I threw up a Season 1 recap and Season 2 if you guys want to check that.
It's coming a day early. It's on tonight in a few hours. It'll be at 9 p.m. So
yep.
Ooh, cool.
PST, right. Yeah.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
They heard the FOMO and they're like, okay, we'll give it to you a day early. Because the next episode was supposed to be like on Christmas Eve after this one.
Yep.
I don't know if that's changing or not. If it's going to be Wednesday nights now.
I don't know either.
I'll definitely be watching it though.
Yep, right. And then just to put a button on Ashes, yeah. Any play you put in right now will be wiped before launch. Nothing from the alpha or betas will be carried into launch. Launch will be a clean, fresh start for everyone.
Right, outstanding. Well, once again, Merry Christmas and all the rest of it. Please take your time to work out the content. There's a wipe coming up in Star Citizen, so all your ships and the equipment should be stowed so that it does not get lost in the transition, and we'll get together with Njaka to play some Ashes and hopefully get some groups together on that front. Beyond that, as we said, you're getting into the final period here for midnight. I want to get some copies of games out. If you'd like to pitch in on that front, let me know. I think some people do like Venmo. The vast majority just do PayPal or they'll do Golden Game. But we don't leave people behind that have played with us for a long time over the holidays. We want to make sure people get access to these games and have an opportunity to play. So if you'd like to help people move into Star Citizen or get copies elsewhere, let us know. I'll make sure everyone's taken care of. Drunk will make sure you get your ticket. That's pretty much all I had, though. Anything else? I'll bring down the stream, too.
I heard something about WoW, and there's some new. It doesn't work for Classic, and it doesn't work for the one where they ripped up Azeroth and rebuilt the Cataclysm. But apparently, there's some new mechanics where you can do skips to help people that want to do mount farming. I'm not sure where you find out about it, but probably on Wowhead.
Yeah, Wowhead has an article, and it's either a complete skip to the last boss, or you do the ones with the quests. You do finish the quest, and then the skip is warbound once you finish the quest. But check Wowhead because it depends on the raid. But if you've been farming Invincible, it's a skip to the last 2 bosses.
I tell you a trick to do that. You take as many tunes as you have and park them out front, and then go in. By your 3rd tune, you should have it.
I'm sure on my friends list too, Drunken, because I'm trying to figure that out. Real ID or battle tag. All right, once again, thank you so much. Good meeting. We will try to get some more gifts out, and from me and the rest of the Star Citizen crew, we have tens of thousands in starships to give away, with billions of credits. We'd love to get you in. So if you're interested, just hit me up, PM me, let me know.
Did you get that gold arc? Did that come to you?
I am trying to figure out why it's not showing up in my male dinosaur, but through. Sometimes it takes an hour or 2 or something because they're making sure that Taylor is not, in fact, the
I'm hoping I
triad
didn't send it
gold
to the
farmer
wrong
leader.
team. I'm hoping I didn't send it to the wrong team.
It was always her all along running the gold farming scams out of Hong Kong.
What happens
Arc,
in Goldshire stays in Goldshire.
Ark, did you ever go and get your Fallen King's Corrupted Blades from Remix? Because it's almost over.
Oh, no, I think I did get them. I did.
Oh, okay,
30
good.
days left.
That was mine. It was 30 days. No, I
33.
did. I caught everything, but thank you, because I would be so pissed
Okay.
off if I did not get
Well,
those.
Yeah, I just opened some mail from one of my characters I transferred over to retail to live, and I see it in my. I already have it, but they sent it to me in the mail.
I got them. The
And that's
Felscorn
what made me think
and
of it.
Shalator and Elamane. The Charlemagne.
And if there's anybody that hasn't done it
yeah.
and you want to get an easy level 80 in like just a couple of days, like from like I think you start at 10, go all the way to 80, and you earn a lot of bronze. And right now they're like just pumping the bronze out, and there's all these vendors with all these raid mounts that you're not going to have to farm for. You could just go to the vendor and buy them. There's all these from all the major raids and stuff, all the armor sets, like at every tier from Raid Finder all the way up to Mythic, they're all there. You buy one set and you get all of them. There's several of those vendors. There's a housing vendor. So if you're just kind of in between things, or you'd like to get another 80 to help you farm, or just you want to play something else but you don't want to like slog it through to try to level, although retail has gotten a little better recently, I would highly suggest do a remix character. Maybe you want a horde character because you want to spy on the horde, or you just want to do some of the other horde stuff. That's a great place to go do that because you get done just really quick. They give you like an XP buff. And the more characters you get to 80, the higher that buffs that you get. It's well worth it just for the mounts and transmogs.
And when you go into midnight, you'll be able to bring up any character because basically it's almost like a level reset with all the gear you get from questing.
Yeah, when I popped out, I was level. They gave you basically level 655 gear.
Yeah, I got 3 different colors of the scythe.
But yeah, if you play Remix, it's really easy to get those raid mounts, and it just will save you so much time if you're obsessed with farming them.
Do it.
Also, speaking of Remix, there is a Legion Assault in Azuna for the next hour and 25 minutes if you need it.
Cool. Did you get Tashalak Arc?
I have not. I will figure it out. I have to head up back to camp